Hi, everybody. This is Chapter 8 of Stop the Chaos: How to Get Control of Your Life by Beating Alcohol and Drugs. I'm going to start off with the 12 steps. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. We came to believe a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood God. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We were entirely ready for God to remove all of our defects of character. We humbly asked Him to remove all of our shortcomings. We made a list of persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. We made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. We continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for the knowledge of His will and the power to carry it out. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to the addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. The third step prayer is, God, I offer myself to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of this bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away the difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. Amen. May I do thy will always. Amen. So in our workbook, we're on Chapter 8, Exploring Emotions. This was a really good chapter for me. As we work through the stages of early recovery, we face a large roadblock: our inability to effectively deal with our emotions. We used chemicals for years to escape from or to cushion our feelings. When we stopped feeling, we also stopped growing emotionally. Without our chemicals, we begin to feel the emotions we previously buried. Although this is a step in the right direction, it can be difficult and painful. Because we stopped growing emotionally, we didn't develop the skills to cope with our newly found feelings. In the past, our inability to handle painful or intense feelings led us to drink or drug. We live the credo of the alcoholic and the addict: I should never be uncomfortable physically or emotionally. If I am, I must end it with all due haste. When we felt overwhelmed and out of control, we believed we had the right to drink and drug to feel better. It was easy to avoid taking responsibility for our feelings and actions. To remain in recovery, we must explore our emotions and learn coping skills. At first, the intensity and diversity of our emotions can overwhelm us. We may feel so much and overreact, or we may numb ourselves and feel little or nothing. Some of us discover that we can identify our feelings. We find ourselves uncomfortable emotionally, but are not sure why. To manage feelings effectively, we first need to identify what they are. Identifying feelings. Identifying feelings can be difficult because feelings are nonverbal or unspoken experiences. Those of us in recovery have additional difficulty because we've numbed our internal experiences for years by using chemicals. The inability to identify our feelings or the tendency to minimize our feelings lead to increased stress and return to chemical use. Refer to the I am feeling chart on the next page for help in completing this exercise on identifying your feelings. Okay, let's look at the I am feeling chart. I am feeling afraid. I am feeling amused. I am feeling angry. I am feeling annoyed. I am feeling betrayed. I am feeling caring. I am feeling competent. I am feeling complete. I am feeling confident. I am feeling delighted. I am feeling dependent. I am feeling despairing. I am feeling discounted. I am feeling discouraged. I am feeling disgusted. I am feeling distant. I am feeling eager. I am feeling encouraged. I am feeling envious. I am feeling excited. I am feeling fearful. I am feeling frightened. I am feeling fulfilled. I am feeling giving. I am feeling glad. I am feeling grateful. I am feeling grief-stricken. I am feeling guilty. I am feeling happy. I am feeling hesitant. I am feeling hopeful. I am feeling hostile. I am feeling hurt. I am feeling immobilized. I am feeling impatient. I am feeling inadequate. I am feeling irritated. I am feeling isolated. I am feeling jealous. I am feeling joyful. I am feeling lonely. I am feeling mad. I am feeling optimistic. I am feeling overwhelmed. I am feeling patient. I am feeling pessimistic. I am feeling pitiful. I am feeling proud. I am feeling rageful. I am feeling regretful. I am feeling resentful. I am feeling revengeful. I am feeling sad. I am feeling scared. I am feeling shameful. I am feeling strong. I am feeling sympathetic. I am feeling tender. I am feeling trusting. I am feeling untrusting. I am feeling unwanted. I am feeling useless. I am feeling vulnerable. I am feeling wanted. I am feeling warm. I am feeling wary. I am feeling weak. Look over the list to find words that describe how you are feeling now. Remember that you can have more than one feeling at a time. Think back over the past week. Was there a time that you were especially emotional? Finding those feelings and write them here. Is there one feeling that you experience frequently? Find it and write it here. Is there one feeling that you would like to feel less often? Find it and write it here. Try to limit the use of the following words. They let us be too general in identifying our feelings. We make better progress by being more specific. Words to avoid. I am feeling bad. I am feeling comfortable. I am feeling confused. I am feeling depressed. I am feeling frustrated. I am feeling good, fine, great. I am feeling uncomfortable. And I am feeling upset. Owning our feelings. An important part of exploring feelings is learning to take responsibility for them. It's easy to blame others for how we feel. By blaming someone else, we avoid looking at our part in the problem. We hear this in our everyday conversations. My boss makes me angry. My husband makes me feel inadequate. Those kids are driving me crazy. Our belief that others are responsible for our problems and feelings gives away our power to change. When we place the power for our happiness on someone or something that we have no control over, we condemn ourselves to feeling helpless, hurt, resentful. Until that person changes, we can't be happy. Since it's unlikely that the person will change, we stay stuck. We learn that we have the power to change how we feel. We have choices about how to react to others. Making these choices demands rigorous honesty. Blaming others is no longer an option we can afford. We're responsible for our own feelings and reactions. Being responsible empowers us to make a change. How we respond emotionally to a person, place, or thing is based on what we believe about that person, place, or thing. Bob and Tom are watching an influential Democratic politician make a speech. Bob, who is a Republican, says, "Hey, this guy is a real jerk. He's angry and disgusted about what he hears." Tom, who is a Democrat, says, "I like what he's saying. He's right about this." Tom's pleased that this person shares his beliefs. Bob and Tom both saw the same event, a speech. They had entirely different emotional reactions based on what they believed. Their belief systems determined their emotional reaction to the speech. We can further grasp this concept by using rational emotive behavior therapy, or REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy, introduced by Albert Ellis, focuses on identifying our beliefs, empowering change, and improving the ability to cope with feelings. REBT says that when an action or event happens, we interpret it based on our thoughts, beliefs, or expectations about that event. Our interpretation of that event leads to an emotional response. The resulting emotional response can determine our behavior. We can work to identify and challenge deeply embedded and damaging irrational beliefs. Each one of us has a belief system. A belief system consists of thoughts and attitudes that give meaning to events in our lives. It involves past experiences and hearing. It's our thoughts and our interpretation of our experiences, our learned values, our expectations of ourselves and other people, places, and situations. Some of our beliefs are rational and appropriate, and some are not. It is possible that our beliefs about a particular person or event are wrong. Being human means making mistakes. I hate to be wrong, but I could be wrong. I'm not always right. And so when conflict arises with a person, the first thing you should say to yourself is, I could be wrong. I don't like to be wrong, but I'm not always right. There is a possibility that I could be wrong. Okay. Over time, we create illogical patterns of thinking that, from our viewpoint, seem reasonable. We come to believe that our perception is accurate. Continuing to believe these irrational thoughts leads to self-defeating thinking and behavior. Irrational beliefs can be self-talk statements such as, I must always, they should never, it's terrible when. Those exaggerated, rigid, and judgmental statements form the basis of irrational, self-defeating thinking and behavior. We become stuck in all or nothing patterns of thought. We judge other people, places, and things by a standard that don't reflect reality. Acting on false beliefs creates mistakes and confusion. We perceive that we've acted correctly, but have been unjustly criticized. We become angry when others don't follow our distorted beliefs. It never occurs to us that we may be wrong. We need a way to determine what our belief system is telling us. Is our belief and resulting feeling rational? Or is it a self-defeating belief that causes an emotional distress? We can set up a simple diagram to analyze our beliefs. A plus B equals C. A is an action or event we encounter. We experience life events on a daily basis that involve people, places, and situation. B is what our belief system tells us. It involves our thoughts, values, and expectations about ourselves and other people, places, or situations. C is the feeling or action that results, a consequence of our belief about that person, place, or event. Okay, so what you believe determines what you think. What you think determines how you feel. How you feel determines how you react. So A is an action, B is a belief, C is a consequence. So A plus B equals C. Action plus belief equals consequence. Look, we all have our own things that we will stand on that hill and take a gunshot wound and die for. They are our convictions and our beliefs. If you don't have them, then you're not developed yet emotionally. So, here's the thing. In life, you have to have humility. We have to understand that we may be wrong, that we're not always right, and that our perception and their perception, they can perceive that they're doing the right thing. They could perceive that they haven't offended you. You might come up to someone that you've seen around, that you've been in a program with, or you've spoken with, or you've been in school with, and you might say, hey buddy, how you doing today? They may not speak to you. They might be having a terrible day. But we may get offended because they didn't take the time to speak to us, but when all reality, they actually are having a bad day. They're internal. They feel like they have not did anything wrong to you. They didn't want to interact with you. And now you got an attitude. And then, a couple hours later, you may see them again. And then you may be offended because you believe that they disrespected you. And you may start on them and, hey, why didn't you, say hi to me? I said hi to you earlier. This guy right here, he's just so impolite. And, how you believe determines how you think. If your consequences are, if you don't like the consequences that you're getting, it may be best to change how you believe. Because how you believe determines how you think about things. And how you think about things can give you an emotional reaction. Almost 100% what you believe determines how you think. And how you think determines how you feel. And how you feel determines how you react. And which brings upon a consequence. So, if you're not liking your consequences, I would go back and see that if what you believe may be distorted, exaggerated, judgmental, irrational, self-defeating, and if you're stuck in those beliefs, that if your beliefs are giving you negative consequences, that maybe change the way you believe, because then it might affect how you start thinking about situations and thinking about your actions. Here's another thing. When there arises a situation in your life, you cannot put the blame on irrational blame. If you were there, you had a part in whatever happened. So, all of a sudden, someone's mad, fussing and fighting, they have a problem, you didn't do anything, whatever. Here's the thing. When I was growing up, if there was a ruckus happening, Mom come out, we were all getting whooped. So, here's my point is that if you were there, you played some part in it. Whether you just stood by and said nothing, you were there. So that's the part you played in it, is that you were there. So you have to own responsibility. You have to analyze and think about the situations in your life and figure out what part you're playing in them. And if your belief system, how you believe, how you think, how you feel, how you react, and your consequences are where you want them to be. So if there's an event, your behavior is determined by your thoughts and beliefs. Because how you think and believe gives you an emotional response. Identifying emotions are very important. And then identifying if your emotions are reactions, a response based off of irrational beliefs. Or maybe your beliefs are just not current with life today. You have to be like water. You may need to get some new beliefs and some new ways of thinking. It's really important to be selfish and self-centered when it comes to taking care of yourself and being compassionate to yourself. And that's allowed and that's okay, especially early in recovery. And if you find yourself vulnerable and in situations that you don't feel like having a part of, it's okay to own your feelings and send out the smoke signal and tell people, say, hey, I just don't even know how to act or feel in this situation and right now. And I'm doing a lot of self-work right now, and I haven't even identified how I feel about all this. Open up. Say, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now. I would rather not socialize. I'm just like meditating and trying to focus on keeping myself in check, because any kind of stress or socialization could lead to me drinking or drugging, and I would rather just be to myself and be open and honest. If you find yourself in a high-risk situation, like we talked about back in chapter 5, you can leave. You can leave this situation. You can find a way to leave this situation. Exit. You don't have the coping skills yet? Take yourself out of the situation. Do not pick up. Do not use. If you have to sit in a meeting all day long, because at least you're sitting in that meeting, you're not drinking and drugging, then that's what you need to do. If you can't hold a job because you're too sick, because if you're not sitting in a meeting, you might be out drinking and drugging, then that meeting is right where you need to be. A plus B equals C. Your actions are determined by your beliefs, and the way you feel determines because of the way you believe. An action or an event we experience. B is what our belief system tells us. I should, I must have. C is resulting in feelings that we experience. C is for consequence. Rational, emotive behavior therapy shows us how to explore our feelings. It teaches us how to change our thinking and responses by altering our belief system. Our feelings are based not on the person, place, or situation, but rather on what we believe about the person, the place, or the situation. Like we saw with the two people watching the presidency election on TV. They're watching the same speech, the same time, same place, but they both had a totally different feeling about that person, place, and situation. We have little control over most things in the world. Traffic, other people, and unexpected frustrations. The A in the sequence, we do have control over our belief system. B, we can make changes in our beliefs that will influence how we feel about things. This is an extremely important concept. It means we have the ability to change how we feel. We can choose not to be controlled by external situations. An action or event that we experience. Marty's driving behind someone going 45 miles in a 55-mile zone. He's late for an appointment. What our belief system tells us. Well, everyone should drive my way. He shouldn't hold me up. I must have my way. I must get to my appointment on time. C. The resulting feelings we experience. Anger. What were Marty's frustrations? What were Marty's irrational beliefs here? The shoulds, mustas, it's awful, it's terrible, I can't. He should drive for my convenience. Everyone should drive my way. Why me? He shouldn't hold me up. I must have my way. I must never be inconvenienced. I must get to my appointment on time, or I'm no good. My day will be ruined. It will be terrible. We can see how Marty, through irrational and rigid thinking, saw the situation as being extremely disagreeable. He had no control over how the other person was driving, but he did have a choice in how to react to it. Challenging irrational beliefs. When we identify an irrational belief, we can challenge it by asking ourselves, what is the evidence that is true? Are our expectations reasonable, or are they self-serving? Marty could go through the following process to challenge his beliefs about driving incident. It is unreasonable to expect others to drive for my convenience. Why me? Why not me? Why am I so special? It's foolish to expect things to always go my way. I can make my best effort to get to my appointment. I can call ahead. Everything will work out all right. I can accept that in spite of my best planning, I will sometimes be delayed. I can't control others. Instead of saying, why me, say, why not me? Instead of saying, I know I'm right, say, I could be wrong. This changing our way of thinking. And one thing about changing your way of thinking is changing the fact that you believe that you can't just change your way of thinking. That you believe that's just how things are. An action or event that we experience. So A plus B equals C. So action. Action. Samantha's employer comments about a mistake she made. B. Our belief. What our belief is. I must never make a mistake. I must always be perfect. I never do anything right. C. Consequence. The resulting feelings we experience. Shame. Because Samantha's belief system said that she can never make mistakes, she has to be perfect, but she also can't do anything right. Her action, she felt shame from the event of Samantha's employer comments about a mistake she made at work. What beliefs would have caused Samantha to react with shame? Samantha's belief system was telling her that I must never make a mistake. I must always be perfect. If I make a mistake, it shows that I am worthless. I never do anything right. There is something wrong with me. Samantha called her recovering friends about her reaction. They were able to challenge her thinking. How would you challenge Samantha's statements, beliefs? Write your response on the lines below. Everyone makes mistakes. A mistake does not make her worthless. I must be forgiving of myself because it's not possible that I can do everything right or have the right answer or the right response all the time. Of course, I do many things right, but there's some things that I don't. My success or my failures doesn't determine my worth. If we continually question and clarify our belief system, we initiate changes in our response. This leads to more appropriate emotional reactions and annoyances in life. We can make changes in our emotions and behavior by ceasing to focus on the offending person or situation as the cause of our discomfort, identifying and challenging our irrational beliefs, continuing to inventory our belief system for self-defeating thinking. Can we identify frequently used patterns? Persistence is required for change. It doesn't happen overnight. Acknowledging feelings based on rational beliefs. While some of our reactions may be based on irrational thinking, many others are based on rational thinking and sound judgment. An event, an action we experience. Someone steals Assan's personal belongings. What our belief system tells us: stealing is not right. The resulting feelings we were experiencing, the consequence: anger and violated. Normally, Assan would have gone into a rage. His rage would have then led to his feelings of self-pity and chemical use. Rather than let his emotions run wild, he reached out to others and used the REBT process to process his feelings. His rational belief was that stealing is not right. He chose not to fall into a rational belief that people should never steal, especially from me, or why did this have to happen to me? Assan made several conclusions. It was normal to feel some anger and violation due to his loss. He chose not to intensify the feelings and make the situation worse than it really was. He realized that nothing would be gained from rageful behavior. Theft is always a possibility. It's why he has insurance. Why did this happen to me? Was an ego-driven statement. He remembered that a friend in recovery had said, "Why me? Why not me? Am I special that nothing bad should ever happen to me?" Assan, to conclude, he was not special. Bad things do happen to good people. People do not always have control over circumstances. He knew he was powerless to change a past event. Assan was able to turn a bad situation into one that he could cope with. He reacted rationally. He didn't blame anyone or dwell on how unfair it was. He used energy from his anger to inventory his home for other missing items to make sure. He called his insurance agent. He also thought about installing a security system. Assan believed that he could learn from this experience. He did not allow this incident to ruin his day. He did not have to resort to chemicals to feel better. Pick a recent incident that resulted in a significant emotional reaction. In a box, write down an action or event that caused the feelings. In box A, so you're going to need 3 boxes. Box A, box B, and box C. It's going to look like this. 3 boxes. In box A, write down the action or event that caused the feelings. Think about an incident that resulted in a significant emotional reaction. In box A, write down the action or event that caused the feelings. In box C, write down the feelings that resulted from the action. In box B, identify the belief statement that resulted in the emotional reaction. This statement may start with, I should, I must, you should, you must, they should, they must. Was your belief system rational? If your belief was rational and the resulting feeling a normal reaction, do you need to take any further action? If this belief was irrational, how can you challenge your belief? Feelings are rooted in belief systems. To deal effectively with our emotions, we need to become skilled at identifying and analyzing and challenging irrational beliefs. What steps can we take to deal with intense feelings? The list below provides options. Abstain from using chemicals for relief. Get out with others. Addicts tend to isolate themselves. Recovering people can't afford to. We need to remember that our heads are a dangerous neighborhood to be in alone. Get our feelings out. We need to discuss how we feel with others. Stuffing feelings only leads to frustrations and depression. Listen to others. Other people in recovery have been through this. We need to get our egos out of the way and listen to what others have to say. We don't know everything. Don't be unique. Too often we believe that no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. Others in recovery do understand. They've been there. Don't take feedback personally. When others give us feedback that's hard to hear, we should take it as good direction. We need others to hold us accountable. Do something to help others. A good deed takes our minds off our own problems. Identify our issues. We can make a list of our problems. Once we've identified them, we can start looking for solutions. We can get insight or feedback from others. Let go. There are many things in our lives that we cannot change. We can turn these over to our higher power. Meditate or pray. The more stressed we are, the more likely we are going to overreact. We can learn some meditation techniques to help us relax. If we believe in the power of prayer, we can pray for the strength to endure through the stress. Remember that we are not alone. We should never be afraid to ask for help. Trying to do everything ourselves keeps us stuck and frustrated. Our serenity and our recovery depend on our attitude. We can obtain books on REBT or other cognitive therapies at bookstores and libraries. We can make a sincere effort to build emotional stability. Handling emotions appropriately is a significant part of our recovery. Our chemical use has limited our ability to deal with emotions. Failure to deal with our feelings can result in a stress and resentments that lead us back to chemical use. Others do not determine how we feel. We are responsible for our own feelings and actions. Blaming others for our feelings takes away our power to change. Our beliefs determine how we feel and how we react to an action or event. A plus B equals C. We can change how we react to people, places, and situations. Let's take a break.